And financially, suddenly, everything was done. Like, we're just two people. Like, having a hit game on iOS sort of put us in a really good spot. So we started working on a new game about shooting, because that's what we do. This is what we're working on right now. It's called Nuclear Throne. We live stream development, so every Tuesday, Thursday, you can tune in and just watch us program a game, which is a dumb idea. I'm not going to talk about that, but what I do want to talk about is PR. Because one of the things that we took really, really serious at Flambeer was PR. And PR, like to a lot of people, it means public relations, platform relations, press relations, I don't care. PR is basically about one thing. It's about relations, and that's it. So you need to know, I'm going to move this microphone because it's in my way. Good. You need to know a number of things, right? There's a number of things, a number of questions that you want to ask yourself. So these are the questions I'm going to talk about. You have to know what you're doing. That sounds simple, but it's a lot harder than it sounds. You have to know what you're making, which also sounds really simple. It's a lot harder than it sounds. You have to know how to reach out to the press. You have to know how to handle the press when you have it. That's what this talk's going to be about. So, before we start, how many of you are independent developers? Okay. So, this talk is applicable to any type of development, but I want to add a little point to the start of this talk for people that are indies, okay? So let me be really honest. Being independent is really hard. Like, you're basically choosing the hardest option in game development that you could possibly take. And that is something you need to be aware of. You're not picking route easy. You're picking like the highest difficulty level of the highest difficulty level that you could do. You're in an industry where if you did corporate software, you could probably earn more, but you're here anyway because you care about this medium. You want to make games. You're here because you're passionate. If you're here because you want to earn a lot of money, you're probably in the wrong spot. The chances that you will earn a lot of money in video games, very small. The chance that you'll be happy here, being able to create things that you're passionate about, a lot larger, right? So on top of just the fact that it's risky to be an independent developer, there's a whole range of like emotional problems. You can get imposter syndrome. Like, I'm pretty sure like every single one of you has at some point felt like everybody is better at this than them, and that they're a fraud, that they're just faking it, and that everybody will find out that you're really bad at making video games. I feel like that. Everybody feels like that. Like, this is a creative field. Nobody feels like they know what they're doing. That's not the point. And you have a lot of responsibility. Like, you're running a studio. This is like, you're paying for your life making video games. That's scary. You can burn out, in which case you're not earning money. You've got entrepreneurial pressure. You're an entrepreneur. You need to make money. Finances are hard. You need to keep track of all the paperwork, which, as I understand, and I mean, I'm not from India, but as I understand, paperwork in India is a lot of work. There's a lot of tasks, a lot of things you need to do that you need to share amongst very few people. So this is how people traditionally think of making a video game, right? They're like 25% design, 25% programming, 25% art, 25% audio. This is simplified, right? Like, this is not exactly the numbers. This is how people think of games. So if you're running a studio, it looks like this, which is 50% of that is actually business, and then the other 50% you have to cram making a game in there. Now this is also simplified. The reality looks more like this. You do game design, you do development, art, audio, marketing, web development, you do community management, you need to do press, legal, accountancy, social media, learning, video editing. Somebody needs to make your trailers. You need to clean your office. Who's going to clean your office? Right? These are all things that you need to do. A lot of people don't think about that. So, to be short, you kind of have to be completely out of your mind to be an independent games developer. Like, this is by far the dumbest possible way to make video games. But if you're going to do it, you're going to do it because you're passionate. And if you're passionate, that's the one way you might succeed at this. If you're not 100% passionate about this, please keep your day job. Don't lose your day job. If you're 100% committed, 100% passionate, you can try and take the leap, right? So you have to be out of your mind, and that's fine, right? Whatever. So let's talk about PR. I mean, when I started, like I said, I was a college dropout. I didn't know anything. I just started doing things. And all of the things on the graph, on the pie chart, I didn't know how to do them. I knew how to program a game. Like, I wasn't a really good programmer either. I just made stuff that happened to work. The most important thing you can do is take everything serious. And that's a lot of work. The trick with taking everything serious is you have to take things serious long enough until you realize what you don't have to take serious. This is like rules, right? The only reason you know when to break rules is because you fully understand the rules. You can't know when to break a rule if you don't understand why the rule is there. Same thing here. So do everything 100% seriously until you know what you can sort of do, what you cannot do, where you can sort of cheat, where like, just take everything 100% serious. That's what we did. So I'm going to talk about PR, I'm going to talk about reaching out to press, about marketing. There's one condition under which any of this will work. This won't work unless you are 100% genuine about your game. Your game needs to be a work of passion, needs to be a work of love. If you don't love your game, if you are not 100% behind your game, you can do all the marketing you want. It won't work. If you don't make a good game, if your game is not the best game it could be, you can do all the marketing, and it won't work. This market is too competitive. There are too many people. There are so many people making video games right now. There are so many games releasing on the App Store, on Steam, on Android, on every platform around the world. If your game is not good, it doesn't matter how good your PR is. Like, if you have like millions of dollars to spend on marketing, maybe you can save a bad game. But then people will talk about it, and in 3 weeks, everybody will just agree that it was a bad game. Look at Assassin's Creed, the Unity. Launched, great marketing campaign, had a lot of issues. Now everybody's talking about the issues. Nobody's talking about the game. Is that good for the game? Probably not, right? So, good marketing will not save a bad game. Bad marketing will mess up a good game. So you take your marketing serious. Our medium, games, right? We like to think of them as entertainment, as fun, as a number of things, as engaging. What we do, and this is implied in the word medium, is none of that. We communicate. That's all we're really doing. We're communicating. We're communicating the systems of this game. We're communicating the world of this game. We're communicating what the player has to do and when they do it right. That's all we're doing. We're communicating. So you need to learn how to communicate, because communicating is everything. Everything in this medium is making sure that what is in my mind goes to your mind. If I'm playing your game, I need to be able to read your mind. That's how good the game has to be. It has to allow me to read your mind so I know what I have to do. That's a video game. And communication is in everything. It's in polishing your game, making sure that when a player does something right, they know that they did something right. But it's also in when you want to monetize your game, that people know where they can spend money. Or when you want to market your game, like, why is your game special? Can you communicate that? And one of the ways we do that is through pitching, right? So, sorry. There, pitching. I'll go back one. And pitching, you know what, I'll go back now. Sorry, one of the ways you can communicate is polish. And polish is important because there's one way of marketing that will cost you absolutely $0. And there's only this one. It's word of mouth. So when you make a game, here's how you playtest it. You playtest to see if it doesn't break. And then the other way you playtest it is you find somebody, I don't care who, somebody that is not a game developer, that is not a friend, that is not a developer, that is not a family. You find somebody in a place where it's busy. And you ask them if they want to test your game. They test your game. If 2 of the 3 people that are standing nearby look at the game and are interested, you've got a hit. If they don't, go back, make the game better until 2 out of 3 people are interested. Free marketing. Simple trick. Make your game good enough that other people watching are interested. If you've got a PC game, you want to be the game that people talk about, that they tweet about, that they want to tell their friends about. When we made Ridiculous Fishing, you know what we focused on? Make sure that it was ridiculous enough that people would want to talk about it. This is a game about shooting fish with a machine gun. That's ridiculous. And people would talk about that. They would show their friends, have you seen this game? This is ridiculous. Have you seen it? It's called Ridiculous Fishing. That's actually really fitting, isn't it? Everybody made the same joke. And we knew that because that's what we built the game for. Everything in Ridiculous Fishing is about getting people to talk to their friends. Because we knew that we don't have the money for marketing. This was a really bad time in Vlaanderen history. Like, our game just got cloned. We hadn't made games for 6 months, 8 months at this point. We didn't have money. We were running out of rent for our office. We were almost out. We needed to make a game that would do marketing on its own. So we made a game that made people talk. So the other way that you have is pitching. Pitching is hard. Pitching is hard for one simple reason. We make games. Games are about interactivity. It's about feel. It's about pressing a button and seeing something happen. What we pitch in is not games. When we pitch something, we pitch it in words. Now, words are broken. Words are a terrible way of communicating. And there's actually a really simple way to test this. So I'm going to tell you a word, and I want you to think of the very first word that comes into your mind after I say the word. You don't have to say it, just keep it in your mind, don't change the word. Okay. The word is water. Okay? You. Can you tell me what word you're thinking of? Sorry? Yeah, so what is the first thought you have with water? Just pick something. It's not going to be wrong. Television. Who else had television? Good. Somebody else. You. Water.
Water.
Yeah, what word? Fish. Who had fish? You would think that more people would have fish. There are 4 people in the room that had fish. We're talking about a word that everybody agrees on. Water. But when I ask you to think about what water means, nobody agrees. This is how terrible words are. We all think we're agreeing. We're all thinking that we talk about the same thing. We don't. We just sort of agree. If you want to pitch your game, you need to get beyond that. You need to find the exact best possible words. The best words. The most accurate words to communicate your game. And the words you don't want to use are the really common ones. How many of you, when they talk about their game to like press or companies, say that it's a unique game? Because let me reassure you, the word unique means absolutely nothing. Revolutionary? Every game is revolutionary. Good? If it's not a good game, why are you talking to me? The amount of words that people use that mean absolutely nothing is staggering. It's too many. Those words are not useful because everybody thinks their game is unique. Everybody thinks their game is revolutionary and brand new and groundbreaking. They're not. And if they are, you don't have to tell me that. Let your game tell me that. Let me figure that out. You want to get to the point. You don't have a lot of time. When you pitch a game, in general, imagine you have 3 sentences. 3. No more than that. 3 sentences to tell me what your game is and why I should be interested. Just for me, so I know who here is working on like a video game that is commercial, that they want to sell. Only 5 people? I'm in like a games industry meetup and there's 5 people that want to make a game? Sorry? So, who of you is working on a game that they think is going to be good? Okay. You. Could you stand up? Can you pitch your game to me?
Okay.
Does somebody have a microphone for him?
It's okay, I don't need one.
Oh, you're loud.
Yeah.
Go.
It's about the gutsy little girl that creates her own path and then has to figure out how to run it.
Okay. Thank you. Who thought that was a very good pitch? Raise your hand. Oh, sorry. They couldn't hear. You have to be louder. Microphone anyway.
It's about a gutsy little girl who has to figure out her own path in life and then figure out how to run it.
Who thought that was a very good pitch? Thank you. That's 0 hands? 1 hand, 2 hands, 2 hands. Okay, so what kind of game is it? Yeah? Is it a platformer? Is it a...
Well, it's two perspectives. There's a top-down perspective where you have to kind of place tiles and make a path. And then it goes into third-person perspective where you actually have a character that runs through that path and completes it.
Okay. Does anybody understand how the game works now? Raise your hand if you do. Yeah, okay. So we've got about 15 people that got it. I still don't know what kind of game is it. Is it a puzzle game? Dexterity game?
It's puzzle plus action.
Okay, why didn't you tell me? What is the name of the game?
Working title is puzzle jump.
Because if I want to search your game after you pitch it to me and I don't know what the name of the game is, it's going to make it hard.
Yeah.
What platform is it for?
iOS to start with, and probably Android.
These are all things you could have told me. But thank you, that's a really brave thing to stand up and do a pitch. Who else? Okay, these people are all very eager, so they probably have a good pitch. So now everybody that didn't have a good pitch, can you raise your hand one more time? Just be honest, it's not about failing. Failing is not a bad thing in the games industry. Please pitch your game. Oh, I've got two people now. Come on, go for it. No, you're it, at the front.
All right. So it's a card game concept. It's a new card game concept.
Okay. Do tell.
We are planning to come on iOS and then Android, same way. That's how short we can make the game. Yeah, the pitch.
Okay. So who thought that was a good pitch? Can somebody tell me why not?
I raised my hand for a bad pitch.
I asked for a bad pitch, but you get one opportunity to pitch your game. You're in front of the entire room here. You have an opportunity to do a good pitch.
That's why
you want to retry? You want to try a good pitch?
No, that's probably why I brought it up this way.
Yeah.
This is how I've
Good.
been pitching it.
Thank you. Who knows the name of the game?
It's called Cobra.
It's called Cobra. Okay, that could have been in your pitch. Who knows what is new about this card game? Because it's a new card game, I would presume so. Why is it new?
Why is it new?
Yeah, what is new about it?
Because I don't know too many people playing it.
I don't know too many people playing it, yeah. That's true, yeah, that's a new game. So thanks for both of you pitching. Thank you, that's, like I said, that's a brave thing to do. So let's talk about the structure of a good pitch. Because pitching is one of the ways you're going to get attention for your game. And perfecting this pitch is a huge part of getting the press interested, to getting platforms interested, to getting featured on platforms, to making sure that people are interested in your game, and to communicate to your players what is special. On top of that, it's a really good way for you to learn what your game truly is. Because you're not making that game because you think it's a new card game. You know there's something special, right? That's what you need to talk about. And you need to figure out what is the special thing about your game that makes you so excited. Why are you excited about your video game? Because after you were done, I knew it was a video game. It was coming up, but I didn't know why I should be excited. And this is what pitching is about. It's about three really simple questions. Who, what, why? Those are the three important questions. And it's not just that, right? They're a bit more complex than that. So remember these questions and try and answer those questions for yourself as seriously as possible while I'm showing them. Who am I? Now, this sounds like a very, very dumb question. Let me reassure you, it's not. Why should I be listening to you? You're about to pitch your game to me. Why do you think I start this presentation with introducing what Flambeer is? Because if I don't, and you don't know who I am, why the hell should you listen to me? Why should you care about what some random person on the stage is going to tell you? Yes, you know that I got flown out here, so that gives me some credibility. It's a good idea to make sure that people know who I am and what I did, that we made award-winning games. And make sure that I tell people that, because if I tell people that, they take me more seriously. So, do the people you're pitching to know who you are? And if not, is there something to be gained from that? Do I have a strong brand? Have I made an award-winning game? Have I done something special, something notable Did I have a game that had lots of downloads or lots of sales? If so, say that. Establish your credibility. Ask yourself, who am I? And what do I have that could make myself look more credible? If that's nothing, that's fine. I started there. Everybody started there. Everybody starts with zero credibility. You build from there. But if you have anything, use it. Use it as if your life depends on it, because that is literally what your rent depends on. People taking you seriously. So make sure people take you seriously. The press will want to know whether you're established. Publishers will want to know whether you've made an established game. Platforms will want to know whether you've made a console game before. Gamers will want to know whether they can trust you, whether they should give you their money. So ask yourself, who am I? 2, this one is very logical. Who am I pitching to? A lot of people approach a pitch as if it's one thing that you can use on everybody. That's not true. Ridiculous Fishing is a game about fishing with machine guns. It's a simple pitch. It makes people interested because it's funny. We sort of don't tell them what the platform is because, you know, we were pitching specifically only to iOS press. So that took out a bunch of stuff we needed to talk about. We're not going to send an iOS press release to non-iOS websites, but you'd be surprised how many people do that. Does anybody here know the website Rock, Paper, Shotgun? Rock, Paper, Shotgun is a really cool website. It's PC only. I talked to their editor-in-chief. You know how many iOS game submissions they get? Dozens a week. These are people that literally tell Rock, Paper, Shotgun, hey, by the way, I never read your website. Could you please talk about my video game? It's not a good way of pitching. So if you're going to pitch your game to somebody, find the person on a website that would like your game. Do some research. If you're making an arcade game, Luke Plunkett at Kotaku loves arcade games. Send him an email. You could also send it to somebody else. You could send it to Patricia. She's probably not going to play that because she loves narrative games. So send it to the person that would be most fitted for your game. Send it to the website that is most appropriate for your game. And think about what can they offer you. A big website obviously has the potential of giving you a lot more views, but it's also going to be a lot harder to get on there. So do you only pitch to big websites? No. You also pitch to